This is my iPad, and I want to use it to show you something. My son works with artificial intelligence called AI, and I was doing some work on taking Star Trek figures and changing them to doctors and as a part of therapy. And what I was going to do was write scenarios for that to kind of work through dealing with doctors. So if you have any kind of a disability, you deal with doctors. So anyway, I was going to do that, and I'm a writer. I can do that. And so my son mentioned what he was doing at work and stuff. And because I'm a writer, I'm kind of like, well, that's kind of cheating to have AI write something for you. But anyway, I thought about it and realized the beneficial implications for the medical community. This app, right there, is called ChatGPT, that we're going to open. And you can see that you get a screen. You have to set it up when you get the app. And I have this at Start a New Chat. Now what this is going to do is write a scenario for something. So here's the message text box. Write a scenario for someone with epilepsy. Now, I want to show you this. I already did it once. And what it does is come up with scenario, managing epilepsy at school. Look at how fast that is. Gives you a description, what can go on, nighttime routine, regular checkups. This is basically a plan. Okay? So now, if you take the idea, I mean, that took, what, 2 seconds? And you take the idea, if we had this, some kind of a little robotic device or something that acted this way, reminded us of the morning routine, school arrival, classroom, seizure action plan, medication management, breaks and lunch. Do you see how this could really make medicine and Medicare much more accessible? It could be developed into basically having a home health aid. If I could have this written into a program and load it into a device, I'd have a home health aid. Some of the things in the other scenario I wrote are like overlap with my service dog. But I wanted to show you this app because if you, especially if you're by yourself and you don't have a home health aid, you don't, so you can be more detailed. I put write a scenario for someone with epilepsy. You can be more detailed than that. When I did it the first time, like I said, it came up with somebody who was a young adult and a daily plan for home, not at school. It's really a good idea that if you have language difficulties or speaking difficulties or don't want to try to access Zoom psychiatrists, or you can use this as a basis, show it to your doctor and say, what if I follow this? And it's AI. Now, an expert could have written this up for us, but it's AI. So run it by your doctor. That's what I plan on doing. And think about it. It's also fun. Okay, this is a screen of the Apple App Store, and I want to show you which one it is. ChatGPT, the official app by OpenAI. This is the one, that's the one my son said to use. You can see there are several. Now, the other application for this, like I said, I have a service dog. So over here, new chat, write a plan for daily service dog routine. And let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's got morning, mid-morning, training session 1, lunch, afternoon, exercise and play, socialization, late afternoon, training session 2. This actually is not bad. Evening walk, bedtime routine. This is not bad. I would probably change a couple of things. Because it's a dog, I mean, some of these things are a given. Wake up and exercise, you provide a balanced meal, hydration. But I think there should be 3 training sessions, and they have 2. Because in reality, if you're living with a service dog, every minute is a training session. Every day you're trying something new. Now here's the other thing, expose your dog to various environments, people and other animals so they ensure they remain well behaved in different situations. Yes and no. Service dogs are not the dog to be taken to the dog park. So this is why my son had said this more or less collects and organizes information off the internet. So I think that socialization in there would need to be adapted to your individual need. In my case, my dog is going to end up pulling a wheelchair or a cart. I need him to be familiar with different environments in one way, but really he just needs to be able to take his cart wherever he goes. So that's a different mentality than running all over town, making sure he likes the library or the store or whatever. From my point of view, training him to take his cart with him, then he goes everywhere, but he has his own cart. He's fine wherever he goes. Other people generally do not respect service dogs, period. A few people I know say no, not to distract the dog. They don't. Other animals is an iffy. I was walking him this morning. My neighbor thinks she's a hot ticket, and she waited till I got out there with him and then brought her dog right in front of him. And, you know, people like this, they just bother me because, so she's like, well, my dog's better than your dog. And I'm like, I'm training a service dog. He's a medical dog. So people do stunts like that. And then they're like, oh, well, you have to socialize him. Well, no, not to your dog, I don't. So this is AI. You can write a scenario. It's a wonderful way to write this up, and look at me, what I'm doing is I'm arguing with it. So now I'm thinking, and I'll come up with my own routine, but based probably on a lot of these suggestions. Me and the dog, we already have a routine, but if I want to make a plan. So I'm making this video because as a writer, I was always against AI because it feels, in a lot of ways, it still feels like it's cheating. Now, with something like that, it's not comprehensive. It only gave me a page and an outline, but I take it from there. So I think it's a very good tool for disabled people to bounce ideas off the wall and get an idea of any kind of a structure you might need for assistance, and see if it works for you. And again, run it by your doctor or therapist or physical therapist, your medical personnel, and say, what do you think of this plan? Easy to download from Apple. I believe that one is free. ChatGPT. I want to add something else. I am a writer, and I'm not going to let go of that. But with my epilepsy, I can't always process information and language. As you know, many of you might remember, I mean, that's one of my problems with the epilepsy, is that I either can't speak, or I can't write something, or I can only write sentences that, you know, individual sentences, or I get stuck typing. That's what happens when I have a seizure. And Senator Fetterman everybody's making fun of him for the way he's dressing, but once I looked into it, he actually is recovering from a stroke. And you saw another app here called Transcribe, and I believe that's the app he has on an iPhone that allows him to, I'll open that later, allows him to function. It transcribes everything that's going on around him. And between his video on having a hearing with people with disabilities, and then my son mentioning AI, when I have a seizure and I can't write, you see, no, I said I'm a writer. I am a writer, but it might take me a year to write a paragraph if it doesn't fall together in my head right, instead of 15 minutes. What this AI ChatGPT can do is kind of jumpstart that process. Because as you saw, I was able to quote-unquote write 2 scenarios very quickly and then evaluate them. And then the other app that was on there is Transcribe. And what that does is convert sound to text. So that might be another one you want to look into. The Apple Transcribe one only gives you 15 free minutes, and then you have to upgrade to the Pro. There's another one for Android called Otter, which is the one I got on my phone. And so when you have a disability, don't be afraid to try the free samples of different AI apps and see if they can help you with your disability.